What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. What is the blueprint to actually making a good superhero game? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I've engaged in the enterprise of working on a superhero game targeted at actually you guys. So you are the audience. You are the intended gamer that I'm making this game for. Today, I wanted to go ahead and do a series where we're going to be taking notes from your own experience, from your own opinions, what the blueprint is to making a good superhero game. So this is one of those videos where I actually do need for you to actually hit up the comment section and give me the game. You see, one thing about this whole conversation when it comes to making, video games and such is we're in a gaming market that is already saturated. It's so weird. Like, if you look at the Steam database right now and number of video games that have been released already in 2024, it's almost a scary number. I mentioned it in my last video. If you watched my video where we were talking about, this conversation of Xbox and PlayStation players not buying games, I don't necessarily think it's because they don't want to buy games. It's because there are just so many games out there to play. So anyone who's going to be bringing a game to the market right now has to basically nail it in order for their game to actually make any sense. My main goal for making this video game is to entertain the audience, give them a superhero that they basically like, a superhero that they can pretty much jive with, and one that is enjoyable to play in a video game. So in different areas and in different aspects, these questions need to be put out there for the community so that as I'm actually, writing this game and actually creating a lot of the different parameters, that I'm going in from a guided position. Now, this is not to say that everything that the community is going to basically put out there is going to be stuff that can be implemented. I mean, it's only limited to me and my own personal resources. So yes, there'll be a lot of limitations. However, there's something that I think that could be foundational to making this something that appeals to the community that I'm making this game for. I'm not really interested, and hear me out, I'm not really interested in selling big numbers of a video game, because there's one thing about sometimes, people could basically buy a bunch of copies of a game, but not necessarily, vibe with that game at the end of the day. They may basically buy into the hype, or they may basically be in a position where they're like, oh, this is actually something cool. But then when they step back and they evaluate it, they may not necessarily have seen what is actually, the meat or the substance in the game, because the game necessarily didn't have too much of a substance. It had more of the wow factor. We saw this with Marvel Spider-Man 2. The reactions at first when the game was, first unveiled were exciting. Everybody was excited. But then on, looking back, it was like, man, it just seemed like there were just a few things that were missing in this Spider-Man game in terms of how Peter Parker did not stay front and center of a game that was about him. This was one of my biggest criticisms, and I saw these same kinds of criticisms across the board. In fact, we were making the joke the other day that Peter Parker seemed like he was like a 55-year-old Peter Parker when you come down and you think about things. Then you look at a video game like, say, Arkham Origins, which was heavily criticized. For the most part, the game was held to a higher level of scrutiny. Like, oh, it seemed like they just went ahead and made the exact same thing. Oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? But then on further examination, the community of gamers who enjoy superhero games came back and said, this particular game had what we think were blueprints that made a really good game. It had boss fights that were even better than the shinier Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight was a shiny game. It was good. Mechanics were, well polished. Everything had already basically taken a whole different turn, but we were fighting boss, battles in a tank, in the Batmobile. And so those elements, to me, like I said, I think the tank battles were fine. I think they were basically trying to culminate the overarching theme of having made multiple Arkham games. And so they wanted to go ahead and throw in an extra piece. However, that core aspect to me was not satisfactory. And so I'm asking you, what is your list? Your 5 top things? What are the things what is the blueprint to make a superhero game that you will like? Because again, this is also another thing too. I'm not making this game for myself. Sure, it's a game that I would like to play. I would love to be able to enjoy and play the game myself. However, there are the audience members that are there that I think it's more important that they actually are able to jive with the game once the game is done and once the game is actually seen, in my opinion anyways. So this particular thing is going to be very interesting, as you know, in regards to this conversation all through. Now, I'm going to make another video where we're going to talk about, you know, more specific, or I'll make another set of videos where we'll talk about more specific aspects in terms of, you know, what really does jive. I really am asking you to, you know, not just to self-promote, but share these videos and let me know, like, you know, talk to people and say, hey, man, put your opinions here. If you want to hop on the Video Game Fight School Discord channel, go ahead and do it. I mean, the Discord server, I can basically create a channel. In fact, I think there's a channel that is actually under video discussions. I can basically go there and we can just, you know, exchange ideas. You guys can share ideas with me. And I just want to take notes because I want to go into this thing knowing that at least having some level of certainty. I shouldn't say knowing that because, you know, you can't really know everything, but some level of certainty that the community who's actually looking forward to, you know, whatever it is that we're making or cooking up is actually looking at it because it's serving them, not just making some random game out of anywhere, but making a game for the community. That's always been my objective. That's always been my goal since I actually decided I was going to jump into this particular enterprise. All right, it's your turn. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really do appreciate you guys. Peace out.